Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be doing the start of a reading vlog, probably mostly reading, but we're going to see how it goes. It's been a little while since I vlogged, so I'm going to see how this goes because I've actually scrapped loads of vlog footage from the last few months because I just ended up not following through with those. So I'm not really sure what this one's going to be like, but hopefully you'll enjoy it anyway. Please do excuse the general mess of stuff behind me. We are, if I've mentioned it somewhere previously in videos, we are still having work done upstairs in our house. We are getting there. We're hopefully getting a painter and decorator in the next couple of weeks, and then after that it'll be new carpet, and then we can finally start to move things back upstairs and maybe get a bed because we've been sleeping on a mattress for several months at this point, so it'll be fun. Also, excuse my general demeanour, it is a Sunday night and I often look rough, but I always look especially rough on a Sunday night. But oh, did you hear that click? Grim. Anyway, so today is the 8th of October, I think, so I'm a little bit late starting this, but I was reading a book before this on Kindle Unlimited, which I do actually own physically, but it was on Kindle Unlimited and I got Kindle Unlimited through with my Kindle, so I was like, okay, well, I'll read it. And it took me a really long time to get through. I'll talk about it in a reading journal video at some point. I'm a bit behind on those right now, but I'll talk about it at some point. But it meant that I'm actually starting this very late. But what this is Becca and the Books is Spookopoly for October. If you don't know about this, I will link to Becca's channel down below, but basically it's a kind of Monopoly style board where you work your way around a series of prompts for reads in the month. There are two different ways you can do this. You can either come up with a TBR beforehand, which obviously I've not done, or you can roll as you go, which is what I did when I played the normal version of Spookopoly last September. There's clearly something about when these readathons are happening that doesn't really work for me, because the one that was last year was while I was in Florida, so I read the least that I'd read in that year, in that month. And then I'm like just going through some stuff at the moment and obviously was in this like weird reading slump with this book. So October hasn't turned out to be any better for me in 2023, but I'm going to give it a go anyway because I really love the concept of this. I think it's really fun and it's going to give me a very dedicated chance to read some spooky books for October. This year's board is spooky themed, and if I don't read the spooky books now, when am I going to read them? It's a whole nother year till I get to some of them. So I would really like to get through some spooky books. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to do so. If you watch my reading journal videos, you'll know that every month I've been donating to a different charity based on the number of pages that I've read in that month. So based on kind of every 100 pages that I read. This was inspired by Jade Legacy, who did this for Polathon last year. And I've then kind of just changed up the charities and I've done it for every month this year. For October, I'm raising money for Battersea Cats and Dogs Home because on the 4th of October, it was World Animal Day. And my friend Anna, who runs the planner sticker shop Plannerface, and I were thinking about what we would like to do for that. And Anna did a sale for that. And then I'm kind of going to donate to Battersea. So I will have a link to Battersea down below if you would like to donate to Battersea, any amount of money, obviously. But if you would like to donate based on the number of pages that you read in October or that you read in November or anything like that, that would be obviously amazing for Battersea. It's a Just Giving page, so I won't receive any of the money or anything like that. So that will be linked down below if you do want to join it. I think that's the kind of general setup, other than the fact that before I actually start my rolls, I wanted to tell you what's generally on my vague TBR for October. So I have on my Goodreads made a shelf for all of my spooky reads. I'm not going to go and find them all around my room because it's just too much right now, but I'll tell you which ones they are and I'll put the covers up on screen. So first up, I have the first and the second in the Sabrina the Teenage Witch graphic novels. I randomly picked up the second one in a shop, not realizing it was a series, but I do now have the first one. So this would be obviously an easy win because it's actually based on the new Sabrina, which I mean, Sabrina generally is witchy, but the new Sabrina I think is especially creepy and therefore really good for October. So that would be a really good option for this month. I do have The Midnight Village by Holly Martin, which has just come out. Holly Martin is one of my favorite romance authors, though I say that from that being before I actually kind of came back into reading and doing stuff for YouTube. So whether I still feel that way, I don't know, but I don't actually own that, but it's on Kindle Unlimited and it's a kind of spooky romance. Love a spooky romance. So it's on my list, but not one I technically own, but is on Kindle Unlimited. And while I have Kindle Unlimited for free, could be an option to read that. I also have the first two in the graphic novel series of the new Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which was recommended. Well, I've like seen Becca in the Books read it and they've kind of brought Buffy into 2019. I would have really loved to do a rewatch of Buffy. There's just too much TV happening at the moment for me to convince Stuart that Buffy is like one of the greatest TV shows ever made and he's missing out by having not seen it. If you want to try and convince him, comment down below. Let's try and gang up on him and get him to watch Buffy with me, because I need to rewatch the musical episode. You know, that's what my life needs needs right now is the Buffy musical episode, which in my opinion is a complete masterpiece. I have on here A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping, which is the second book in the Secret Society of Irregular Witches, or series. I'm not sure it's a series actually, but it's by that author. But that doesn't come out till next year. I guess I'm just being really optimistic in putting it in here. But I do have the first one, so the first one's on here. I also have Witch Please, which is another romance that I do not know, do not own, so let's kind of hope that doesn't come up. Have A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon, which I do own on Kindle apparently, and I think the second one for that comes out this year. I think I've seen the arc knocking around NetGalley, I think, so that's also an option. I should maybe be checking what's on my NetGalley shelf, you know, as well. I'm doing a little bit better with that, but I should maybe just double check. I've put on here Murder at the Village Church, which is the third book, yes, in the Deadly End series by Victoria Walters, which is very much a kind of cozy murder mystery. This one has a really summery cover, but it is a murder mystery, so I feel it fits. Oh, actually, I should probably add Thursday Murder Club onto this list because I'm not sure it is, so I'll add that. I added Her Majesty's Royal Coven because I do own the physical copy of that, and I felt like this one, you know, I'm pretty sure it has witches, so it's a coven, so that could be an option. I've got the second and third of the graphic novel series, The Sad Ghost Club. I read the first one earlier this year, and I didn't love it as much as I wanted to, and to be honest, I think I need to read the other books in this series and probably unhaul it. So it would be good if those came up in any way as part of this readathon. I have Like a Curse, which is the sequel to Like a Charm, which is a middle grade series by Elle McNichol. And I did enjoy the first one a lot. It took me a little while to get through. I would be interested to read the second one. I don't think it's a series I would read again, but I think if you have a sort of 10 to 12-year-old in your life who likes magical stories, this is a really, really good recommendation for them. I then have The Kiss Curse, which is the second book in the X-Hex series. I read the X-Hex last Halloween, and oh my word, one of my best books of 2022. I really, really loved it. I did not expect to enjoy it as much as I did, so I would love it if The Kiss Curse came up this year. I have This Spells Disaster by Tori Ann Martin, which looks like a romance that I must have been interested in at some point, but I don't own it, so let's hope that doesn't come up. I have Get for Witch a Chance, which is the first in a series, a romance series, but that's on Kindle Unlimited, so it's a really cute cover, but I don't necessarily want to start a series as part of this. I have Hex Appeal by Kate Johnson, which I do own the physical copy of somewhere, and I think that is another romance. It's giving me XX vibes, it probably says that on the cover. I have Awkward in October, which is a kind of bookish romance series by Teresa Yeh. That's on Kindle Unlimited. Again, don't really know a lot about it, so I would be fine if that one didn't come up. I have the first volume of Witch Hat Atelier, which is a manga series about witches. Thought that could be a good sort of easy win book. I have The Midnighters by Hannah Took. This is a book that I picked up just totally on a whim in Sainsbury's that was on sale, and the cover is amazing and it looks very Halloweeny, so I thought it would be a good one to add here. I have Witcher Gonna Do, which is the first in a Witchington series. I feel like it's only on my Goodreads list because the cover, I'm pretty sure, is drawn by Leni Kaufman, who's my favourite book cover artist, and that's a romance as well, but again, I don't actually own this one. It's not on Kindle Unlimited, so maybe I should remove some of these for the purposes of this challenge. I have The Trials of Morrigan Crow, which is the first one in the Nevermore series, because I do own that, though it's like behind all of this stuff, so I could do without that coming up, and also it would be starting a new series. I have Pumpkinheads, the graphic novel, which is set in October, so I think that would be a really, really good fit, and I was gutted I didn't get to it last year. I have Not the Witch You Wed, which is another romance Halloweeny one that I don't really know, but must have been recommended at some point for it to be on here. And then I also added The Night Circus because I felt like it gave Halloween vibes. So I'm also going to add The Thursday Murder Club on here because I feel like as a murder mystery that it maybe gives slightly more October vibes, but I think it should be on here. And ultimately, I'm pretty sure it's on my 2023 list, so it'd be a good option. And I also want to add Coven, which is a graphic novel that I have, which is also witchy. Why is that not showing up here? Is that not what it's called? It's literally called Coven. Why is it not showing up in my books? Have I never added it to my physical TBR? One moment. No, apparently I had never added it. So I'm going to add that now as well. I feel like I really need to do a proper audit of all the books I own. Things just got out of hand, you know. Different angle for you, more of the stuff. I do also have the ARC for Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldry, and obviously I need to read that because it comes out in November, but I feel like that also definitely gives October vibes, so I'm adding that to that list as well. So those are all the books that are on my spooky TBR. I just want to get into this and start rolling because I think this is going to be a long video otherwise. So let's go to my first roll. Here is the board. I've just printed it out on sticker paper because I will be sticking it into my reading journal, but I'm very behind on my reading journal right now, so I'll stick it in later on. These are where Chance and Community Shelf cards should go. I am probably just going to do a wheel with books on it and just randomize it, and it will pick a book for me for those. I just don't want to go through the process of cutting out and making the cards, etc. So I think that's what I'll do. I'm going to use this as my counter. This is from the game. What is the name of the game? Oh, I'll put it on the screen because I can't think what it's called. But it's a relatively new sort of D&D, cozy D&D inspired board game that Stuart bought for me for my birthday. We haven't played it yet though, but this is one of the figurines. It's so cute. So I thought I would use that, and it's nice and small, so it works. And then I'm going to roll the dice on my on my iPad. So we roll 2 dice in order to see around the board. If we get a double, I think, need to read 2 books for that prompt. I'm kind of hoping that that won't happen to me because I think it will slow me down generally, but we'll see. It happened to me last year. So let us do our first roll. Of course, it was a double. So 2 brings us to Community Shelf, which means spinning the wheel, which I've not made. Okay, I'm gonna have to go build that. I'll be back. Okay, so I added a couple of other books. I also added My Killer Vacation by Tessa Bailey and The Dead Romantics, because I felt like they both gave the vibes as well. So I think I'm finally there. I didn't add any of the books I don't actually own. So all of these are either physical books I own, Kindle books that I've bought, or on Kindle Unlimited. I felt that was like the fairest way to do this. Okay, let's see what we get. Let's see what we get. I'm so nervous about this. Oh, no way! Oh my word. Something's on my side, I'm telling you. I'm so excited about this. Let me grab it. Don't want to be dramatic, but I really don't think this could have gone better for me. I'm so happy about this because I have honestly been in such a reading slump, which is not something I necessarily thought I experienced, but I definitely have been in one the last few months. I've been reading a lot of ARCs. I got into like a bit of a weird relationship with NetGalley where I was requesting so many books and I got approved for nearly everything I requested, but then it meant that I was reading books I wouldn't necessarily have wanted to read. It's been like a real string of 3 stars, and I am so excited to read this because, as I said, I loved The Ex-Hex. It was one of my absolute favorite books of 2022. I first gave it 5 stars and then I changed it to 4.75 because last year is when I first got back into reading, and I read Heartstopper, all of Heartstopper last year, and because that to me is like a 10 a 10-star series, it made it really difficult to score other books because nothing was as good as Heartstopper. And so things like Red, White and Royal Blue and The Ex-Hex I marked down to either 4 stars, 4.5, 4.75, like The Love Hypothesis and The Ex-Hex I think I put as 4.75. These are all 5-star books, okay? I've read like 90 or 91 books this year. I now know a lot more what makes a 5-star, and those books were 5 stars. Heartstopper can still be like a 10-star to me, and that's fine, but those books are 5 stars, and I need to go through, and I wanted to film a video on it, so we'll see if I ever do. Those books are definitely 5 stars, and so I really hope that I'm going to love The Kiss Curse as much. So in The Ex-Hex, we follow Vivi, who has this kind of really hot and heavy summer relationship with a guy called Rhys, and then he kind of just ups and leaves her, breaks her heart when she's 19. She curses him, and she's a real witch, and therefore curses actually happen, and so she full on curses him, and he then comes back to the town like 9 years later and is kind of, the curse comes to life, and she doesn't think she actually cursed him, but she really did, and it's about them kind of dealing with the curse on their town. This one is following Gwyn and Rhys's brother Wells, so I don't want to kind of read too much. I just want to go into it, and I'm really excited to read now. This is so exciting. So I'm gonna go and get curled up in bed. It's like 8:15 now because that took me time to do, so it's 8:15 now. I'm gonna go and get myself ready for bed and then just spend some time reading. I'm so happy. reading. If you don't know, I have a job that does mean I have to travel occasionally. I used to travel a lot, all the time, but one of the blessings of being manager of the team means that I don't have to travel as often, but when I do, it's almost even harder because I don't do it as often. But anyway, we're not here to talk about my premiere in woes. We are here to talk about The Kiss Curse. I'm on page 111 of this. I read about 80 pages last night, and then I've read some on the train to my hotel. I'm loving it. Give you some sort of vague background to this in case you haven't read the XX. This is basically kind of split between two areas. We have Wales, and then we have a town in Georgia called Gravesglen. Gravesglen. It has a Welsh name as well, but Gravesglen. And the Penhallows have this kind of ancient magic that runs through Gravesglen, but they are a Welsh family. And then something happens in the first book that we discover that means that the magic is kind of changing over to no longer be Penhallow magic. In this one, we're following Gwyn, who is Phoebe's cousin, and Gwyn runs the magic shop that mostly is just selling kind of fake magic stuff to tourists. It's not doing particularly well. And then we also have Wells, who is the brother of Rhys from the first book. Wells is back in Wales and his pub is really struggling. Literally nobody comes into this pub, and one night it's chucking it down with rain. That's my Deliveroo pop-up. It's chucking it down with rain, and his dad comes in and is kind of really just looking around and is really disappointed about how the Penhallow legacy now feels like it's not doing well in Wales or in Gravesglen. And Wells, just on a whim, decides, actually, I could move to Gravesglen. I'll give up the pub. It's not doing well anyway. I'll go to Gravesglen and I will do something. I'll open a shop or something to bring some of that Penhallow magic back to Gravesglen, because clearly Rhys isn't doing that, as he's just been kind of running off with Phoebe. And surprisingly, his dad agrees. And so Wells ups and moves and opens a shop across the road from Gwyn's. So this is a kind of, I would say, yeah, enemies to lovers, which is not my favourite trope if you've been around here a while. But I do like enemies to lovers when it's not really so much hatred, it's more banter. And it's like they're instantly attracted to each other from very early in the beginning. I also just love Erin Sterling's writing style. It's so witty and but in a really effortless way. I don't ever feel like it's forced, which I do think that some romances can lean that way, but Erin's is just, her words just flow on the page. You just really feel the characters. They are all kind of sassy and snarky, and I really like that about them. They're just really fun to read about. Gwyn is just a really fun character, and I just really like the banter between the two of them. So yeah, I'm absolutely loving this so far. I'm hoping we're gonna have a 5-star here, which might be a little bit recency bias because I've had like so many 3 stars or lower lately, but I'm just really loving this. I just think that these are just steamy, funny, sexy books, and I really love them. And they're also not particularly long because we're already kind of very nearly halfway. So I'm very excited to keep reading. So my Deliveroo order is hopefully going to be on the way soon. I got like a £10 voucher for my work Deliveroo account because I don't order that often, so that was incredibly exciting. So I've got my Ask Italian on the way. We don't have an Ask where I live, and I really like this purple pesto genovese pasta that they do. So I'm very excited to have that. And then I'm going to have a bath, read some more of my book, and get ready for my day tomorrow. So my best friend Emma, for my birthday, actually bought me cutlery that I could take away to hotels because I always forget to bring it with me. And when I left today, I was like, I've definitely forgot something. What have I got? I forgot my cutlery. Ask Italian did include some, but how am I going to eat pasta with 1 knife and 2 spoons? Absolutely loved this. 5 stars, no question. So good. These books are so good. If you haven't read them, I cannot recommend enough picking them up. If you love romance, if you love anything witchy, if you love like sassy characters and steamy romance, they're so good. They're so good. I can't believe we're not getting the 3rd one this year. It's coming out next year. That's like probably my #1 most anticipated book of next year now. I absolutely love this. Is this my favourite book of the year? I feel a bit like all over the place with the books I've read this year. I really haven't had the best reading year overall, but this might be it, you know. I absolutely love this. So I don't really have any more coherent thoughts than that because it's only like 10:15, but I woke up at 5 AM, so my eyes are so tired, but I just could not finish this. The downside is I don't have a book with me, and I don't even have my Kindle with me. Like, even if I wasn't gonna spin for Spookopoly, I have nothing to read because I didn't bring my Kindle, because it's honestly taken me so long to read books recently. I did not think that I would get through this, and I have like 40-minute bus ride to where I'm going tomorrow, and then it'll be like a 40-minute bus ride back, and then a train home, and I have no book. And like, if I had my Kindle, I would just like override Spookopoly and just read something, but I don't have my Kindle with me, which was so silly of me. Obviously I can read on the Kindle app on my phone, but when I'm on the bus, it's going to make me feel sick. So I do have, obviously I have my phone, so I have audiobooks. I'm listening to the third one in the Her Majesty, what's it called? I can't think of the name of the series. I'll put it here. I can't think of the name of the series, but I'm listening to the third one right now, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not paying any attention to it. I could not tell you what's happened. Like, it's not like I'm not enjoying it. I really like the audiobook narrator of these books. With audiobooks that I listen in like very short bursts, so I'm just looking for something like comforting to listen to, and I'm really like, I really like it for that. But I do not know what's happened in this book. I don't know whether I should be like starting again, but I don't really want to do that, but like, I do not know. I just don't, like, at the moment, Georgiana's like with her granddad, like pretending for him to be some like really old uncle of hers, and they're like looking around some care home. I literally don't know why. So do I want to try and finish that out tomorrow? I guess that's what I'm gonna have to do, because I can't spin again, but even if I could, I don't have anything with me. Or I attempt to read on my phone, but I then can't spin because my spinner is on my Mac. So I'm gonna go to sleep anyway, because I'm so tired, and I, despite being in a hotel, still have to get up really early tomorrow. And then I guess I'll try and figure out what I'm gonna do, and I'll let you know when I figure that out. Hi, it is now Wednesday, the 11th of October. Excuse the general appearance, I just had a bath. So I last left you when I finished the Kiss Curse on Monday night. And as I said, I didn't have anything else to read with me. And on Tuesday, I had to get quite a lot of buses. So I just picked up an audiobook. I didn't spin for it because the wheel is on my laptop. And honestly, I don't think I had any spooky books for my audio. And also I only listen to my audio in like 10-minute bursts, so it often takes me kind of 6 weeks to listen to an audio, so it counting in Spookopoly like is not necessarily the vibe. So I'm actually listening to, well, I finished the murder mystery that I was listening to, so I guess that's kind of spooky, which was the third one in the Her Royal Highness series. I honestly do not know what happened in this one. I couldn't tell you who died. But I enjoyed it. I gave it 3 stars. I didn't feel I could rate it any higher because I don't know what happened. But I wasn't really in the mood to pick up another in that series. So I listened to Tom Felton's autobiography earlier this year, and I'm still sort of hovering around what rating I want to give it, because I feel rating audio autobiographies is a little bit weird. But I kind of rated that 5 stars and then rated it 4 stars, and at the moment it's at 4.5, but who knows. But I think about it a lot, and that's what I actually think a 5-star should be. So probably it's a 5-star. Like I really enjoyed it much more than I expected to. And so I've been wanting to listen to more biographies. So I listened to Hugh Bonneville's last month, and I've actually worked with Hugh Bonneville. Just name drop there. I did like one TV drama when I was in year 11, and I was on a BBC drama as an extra in a show, and Hugh Bonneville was the lead in that. So he does not sadly talk about it. How could he not talk about his experience of meeting me? But yeah, I didn't love that one as much. I gave that one 3 stars. But I was in the mood to listen to another one. So I already had Matt Lucas's downloaded. I think I must have got it for free, because Matt Lucas isn't somebody that I would pay for. So maybe it's included on Audible. But I already had that like there on my Goodreads. So listening to that. And I don't really know how I feel about it. I quite like Matt Lucas. I'm not like against him in the way that other people are, but the way that he in this book talks quite blasé about racist comments, and obviously his and David Walliams' work is like really controversial, and he's quite flippant
about some of that. I don't really know how I feel about that. So I'm still a little bit on the fence. I'm not really far enough through yet to kind of pass judgment, I think. So I'll see when I finished it. But anyway, none of those are for Spookopoly. And we have another book to talk about that's not Spookopoly, but is very autumnal themed. So I did want to talk about it. So when I was at this event that I was at on Tuesday, it went really dead at like 12:30, and I sent the people that were working on the stand with me home because I was like, this just doesn't need to be 3 of us here. And then literally nobody else was coming around the event. I didn't have my Kindle, I didn't have a book, but I do have the Kindle app on my phone. And so I was just looking through and I was like, oh, what could I read? And I had The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Laurie Gilmore. I highly doubt that's their real name. On my, I had that, I bought it already, and I thought actually that should have been on the wheel. Because like it would be one I would have considered reading for Spookopoly, because it's like very in right now, this book. It's a TikTok book, and that made me sound really old. I said that, I don't have TikTok, can you tell? But yeah, this is very much like in, it's very like cozy romance, and it's very much kind of if you like Gilmore Girls, you are supposed to like, it's like the author I literally think has named the version of themselves that writes these books after Lorelai Gilmore, it's they're really going for a particular vibe with this. So I thought, well, I'll just read that, because I know I can't really count it for Spookopoly, though I would be tempted that if I get a Spookopoly prompt that I could have used this for, I may just then be like, I read that one, I'll count it for that and move on. Because if I did my Spookopoly TBR at the beginning of the month, then I might have been able to include this. So I think that might be what I do, but we'll see. Anyway, I picked it up and I just finished it now in the bath. I gave it 4 stars. Here's the thing. I don't think that this is the best written romance out there by any means. I think it moves way too fast. It's way too convenient. It's way too kind of typical stereotype romance. The steamy scenes are incredibly formulaic and over the top. And I don't mean that in a way that is like exciting. I mean it in a way that's like, oh wow, she's having the best sex of her life for like the 4th time this one evening. Like, my favorite steamy scenes are written by Ali Hazelwood, and this was so the absolute opposite end of that. These like perfect love scenes. The 3rd act drama, everyone could see the 3rd act drama coming, there's like absolutely no way you couldn't see what this was going to be. There was this random mystery that was like woven into it at points, and that didn't even come to anything. It was literally there to serve a plot point for the romance. And I still gave this 4 stars. I still lapped it up. What is wrong with me? Like, I read so much romance and I know what top tier romance is, and I don't think this is it, but I was still so drawn in. So my review on Goodreads, I was just like, what, ultimately you have to rate things based on what your gut feels, and my gut felt like this was a 4 star, because I do think my reading is a bit skewed. I've mentioned already in this vlog that I have read a lot of 3 stars, a lot this year. And so if I enjoy something a little bit more, I think I'm a little bit like off kilter with then how I rate things. And I just have not wanted to pick up so many books for so many months. And this one, I wanted to read it. Yesterday, Stuart and I had dinner and watched TV, and then I went to rehearsal, and then I came back, and I should have gone straight to bed, and I didn't. I sat on my phone. I didn't even go get my Kindle. On my phone, because I'd been reading on my phone in rehearsal when I wasn't needed. And I couldn't even be bothered to pick up my Kindle to get it to the right page. I just kept reading on my phone when I got home until midnight. I don't even recognize who that person is sometimes. And that might be antidepressants working, so there could be a multitude of things here. But I really, really wanted to keep reading this book. And it's just been a while since I felt that. So we're going with it. And I gave it 4 stars. Anyway, given it technically wasn't for Spookopoly, we now need to read another book. So unfortunately, because I rolled a double, I can't roll again to move on with the board until I read another book for the same prompt, is what I have interpreted the double rolls to mean when you are rolling as you go. And therefore I need to spin the wheel again. To be honest, I'm actually fine with that. It's almost easier when you spin the wheel. It's just going to pick a book for you. And I'd be happy to read many of the books on here. Not all of them, but many of them. So I've obviously removed The Kiss Curse. I haven't added Pumpkin Spice Cafe because I just read it. I have added Fourth Wing because everyone is talking about it. And I keep meaning to read it. And I've had it bought on my Kindle for ages, but still haven't read it. So I kind of thought, it's maybe time. But obviously because of Spookopoly and because I'm beyond this prompt, I can't just read Fourth Wing. And I've actually bought the Waterstones exclusive edition because I was going to buy Iron Flame, but I didn't really know what it was when Iron Flame came out. So I missed out. And then now people are selling it for like hundreds of pounds. So I was like, no, I'm going to get the exclusive Fourth Wing. Even though I haven't read it. I might hate it, but it's probably my sort of thing. But we'll see. So, shall we spin the wheel? Shall we stop speaking at 8 minutes into this footage? Okay, so here is the wheel. I don't know how to spin. Do we press spacebar? No. Okay. If I click. Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. What will the wheel give us? Oh. Right. Okay. I don't have this right now. Okay, that is installing on my Kindle now. So The Midnight Village is by Holly Martin, who is a romance author that I absolutely loved back when I wasn't making book content and I was reading exclusively romance. So this was, I don't know, 2012 to 2018, something like that. And Holly Martin was absolutely, like, if you asked me then who my favourite romance author was, my favourite author generally, it was Holly Martin. I binged all of her books back to back. I used to travel a lot for my job, and so I always used to read on the Kindle app on my iPad, and I would get through her books so quickly. I haven't read them in a while, and I will be really interested to see how I feel about the books of hers that I have previously loved. I'm like really keen to reread them all. But obviously this is going to be a new one because it is a witchy one. So let me read you the blurb. Apologies to read you the blurb, but I don't really know what it's about. I just kind of went, yeah, it's Holly Martin. So it's on Kindle Unlimited, in case I forget to say. So if you have Kindle Unlimited, worth reading. And it's kind of good for me to, you know, use my Kindle Unlimited membership while I have it for free, since I bought the Kindle. Because I think I'll only have it till the end of November. And then I need to make a decision if I'm going to keep it or not. So the blurb is, a scoop of second chances and a dash of destiny are about to become the recipe for this year's most magical love story. We're already getting the vibe. Star Brightheart bakes cakes that can help a person nail a job interview or mend a broken heart. But when a celebrity food critic nearly bites the dust after eating one of her cakes, she needs to disappear from her flashy public life in London. Fast. She escapes to the one place where no one will find her. Here we go, small town. The secretive and exclusive village of Midnight. But what she finds is a village full of witches, a 30-year-old curse, a talking cat, and a whole world of magic she never knew existed. Yet she feels like she belongs here, something Star has always struggled to feel anywhere else. And it's not just because of the gorgeous young mayor, Wolf Oakwood, who convinces her to stay, or the delightfully meddling resident witches that give her a welcome. There's more that draws Star to Midnight, something that goes beyond chance. It is a discovery that will flip her world and her heart upside down once the truth comes to light. I'm wondering whether this one is going to be a little bit too on the nose. Like the fact that like the village is called Midnight and like the character is called Star and things. I don't really know if that's just going to be like too sweet. But I'm very interested. Obviously, I love the X-Hex and the Kiss Curse. I read a couple of other witchy books this year because I got a couple of arcs. I right now can't think what they're called. This spellbinding romance, something like that. But yeah, I've read a few and none of them have I loved like I've loved the Kiss Curse and the X-Hex. So it'll be really interesting to see what I think of this one. I'll let you know when I've read some stuff.
Hi, excuse the general this. I'm going to do a very quick roll because I will finish my book tomorrow on my commute, so I need to know what I can finally roll for next. And I don't want to end up in another position like I did when I read the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, where I just needed something to read, so I picked something. I would like to actually do the roll, so I'm being forward thinking in doing that. It still shows our roll from last time, so let's roll again. A 2, and it's a double again. Right, let me get the board. 2 would be TBR Vet. Let me check if Becca has any specific rules on this one. Apologies for this, but it just says read a book that has been on your TBR for a very long time. I really, really need to read an arc. Like, really need to. And this is not going to work for me. Let me see what's on my TBR. You know when you just feel like things are against you? So, I've gone to my spooky season TBR shelf on Goodreads, and the oldest book on my TBR, according to this, but I added 3 books on the same day, is The Night Circus. And as much as I feel like this would be a good opportunity, this is such a horrible angle, as much as this would be a good opportunity to read it, I really don't think that it's a good idea. So the next book that I added on the 25th of February was Not the Witch You Wed, which I don't own, so I'm gonna kind of skip that one. The next one was Thursday Murder Club, and that is on my 23 in 2023, so that would be a good option, to be honest. And then the one after that, I then also had The Sad Ghost Club Volume 2, which I would really like to read because I read Volume 1 earlier this year. And then also Pumpkinheads, which is also a graphic novel. And I think in some ways reading the 2 of those would be great because I have to read 2 for this prompt, so I could read those 2 and move on and then hope I'm going to get a role that will mean that I can read Iris Kelly Doesn't Date, because I have the arc and it expires on the 24th and it is the 16th today, and it takes me quite a while to read at the moment. So okay, I think we're going to go with the graphic novels, because much as I would love to read The Night Circus and Thursday Murder Club, I need to be realistic. So I'm going to read the other 2 is what I'm going to do. Hello from our mess of a bedroom. I realised while editing the initial clips for this video that I never did a review of The Midnight Village by Holly Martin. I planned to update midway through the book, and then just the way that my reading fell, I didn't, and then I just moved on. I didn't ever update you. So to talk to you a little bit about what it was. So it is basically, as I said, obviously I've read out the blurb, and it's effectively actually a second chance romance where Star and Wolf know each other as kids, and then they sort of rediscover each other when Star moves to the village. They quite instantly know who each other is, and they feel a connection, they feel drawn to each other, but they're not entirely sure why, other than just they loved each other as kids and they think maybe that's it. Then it turns out that they have the same birthday, and there is a sort of law in the village that means if you're born on the same day, and like exact same day, then you are betrothed to each other. So then they have concerns that their love for each other is kind of affected by this betrothal, and so they're sort of trying to fight past that and sort of see if their feelings for each other are real despite some of the magic at play here. There's then also a storyline with a girl called Jessica who is sort of, we think, is in love with Wolf, or there's definitely something going on there, and is kind of trying to get rid of Star out of the village while Star is trying to come to terms with her magic. She had no idea she was a witch. She's trying to figure that out and deal with her feelings for Wolf and find Jessica. And that's the general premise. It was steamier than I expected. I thought that Holly Martin romances were closed door, but it's been a while since I've read any, so it's hard to say. But it wasn't closed door, it was steamy. It was kind of one of those sort of, I would say sort of typical British romances where it's quite, almost, glorified is not really the word I mean, but I talk about it earlier in this video where I talk about how the sex scenes are like really perfect, and it's like that kind, but you know, still enjoyable. Ultimately, I gave it 3 stars overall. I think this book had real promise. The town is so interesting. The lore behind all of their magic, behind the different types of witches, is so interesting. I was genuinely so fascinated to find out more about that.
the romance plot almost kind of railroads that, because it's so much more a romance with a light touch of the witchiness. I feel like something like the XX and the Kiss Cars is more of a 50-50. It's maybe what I prefer, even though I'm a romance reader, so I shouldn't not prefer it. But it just didn't, the balance just didn't quite work for me, which was such a shame, because I genuinely think this was so interesting. And I think just the pacing of Star and Wolf's relationship, like, you don't see a lot about them as kids, and that means that you are supposed to be really, really invested in their relationship and them being together without much backstory. So it feels quite insta-lovey, even though it isn't, it's second chance romance. But I felt that it was insta-lovey, and I can find insta-love problematic. So yeah, unfortunately I didn't love this one as much as I expected. But I think if you like sort of cozy British romances, this is a good option. The other thing I want to say is I do not think this is a good read for spooky season, because it's actually set in winter. So, you know, it's spooky and, well, spoopy in that it has witches, but it is literally set in winter. So maybe you read it at Christmas instead.
Hi, it is Saturday now, Saturday the 21st of October. I feel like I'm so out of the like normal vlogging space, but also attempting to vlog while I'm as busy as I am right now was never going to be a good idea. So it's fine, it is what it is, I'm here now. So I actually ended up slightly changing what I was going to read for TBR Vet, but we'll talk about why that happened. But first, I did read Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell. Oh, it's getting like messed up on the back. So this is a graphic novel about Deja and Josiah, and they both work at a pumpkin patch every Halloween, and this is going to be the last one before they go to university, and they're trying to sort of make the most of it. Deja is really keen for Josiah to finally ask out the girl who works on the fudge shop, and that's what most of it is about. It's about them just kind of not actually working on the pumpkin patch, but just going round the pumpkin patch, chasing this fudge girl who keeps getting moved around from different stations that are not the fudge shop. And then towards the end, they start to realise that they are actually really, really gutted about the fact that they are not going to be able to go back to the pumpkin patch next year because they're going to be at college, and also that they are really going to miss each other. And this is so beloved on BookTube, and I was really excited to finally get to it because it's, as you know, has been on my TBR for such a long time. I didn't love it as much as I thought I was going to, you know? I'm not really sure why. Like, it's definitely very autumnal. It's definitely very cozy, like not a massive amount happens. And I really like the elements where there's quite a lot of just sort of funny stands around the pumpkin patch with like funny little quips and jokes and stuff. And I really like that side of it. But for some reason, I just didn't feel completely in the story. So it's kind of hard to put my finger on it, and it, you know, obviously could just be how I felt that day when I read it on that commute. But yeah, unfortunately I didn't like totally love this one. I gave it 3 stars, but it wasn't my favourite. So I'm not really sure whether I'm going to keep it or not, because I don't know whether I should kind of attempt to reread it and see what I think. So I'll keep it for now, I think. So that was the first book I read for the TBR Vet prompt. And then the second book I was going to read was Sad Ghost Club, because I thought I'll get through 2 graphic novels and then move on. I've got other stuff I need to read. But as kind of part of me, like, I've done a lot of travelling for work this week, and I was listening to an audiobook, and the audiobook I decided to listen to, I could get the physical copy, but it's up there, is Lauren Graham's Talking As Fast As I Can, which is her biography. I've read a lot of biographies this year, and I think they're quite an easy listen on audio. I like listening to the audiobook narrator narrating their own book, and I have had this Lauren Graham book on my TBR for a hilarious amount of time. So I don't think it's probably ever been on my Goodreads, because I borrowed this book from my friend Sarah probably 6 years ago. I think we'd been working together about a year before we became like really close friends, and that's when she lent it to me, because Gilmore Girls was like a thing we bonded over. And I don't think I ever added it to Goodreads. And I had completely I wasn't thinking about the TBR Vet prompt when I started listening to it. I just thought, no, now's the time. I'm in my like audiobook autobiography era. I will listen to Lauren Graham. And then when I got to the end and I like, you know, did my review and stuff on Goodreads, I was like, this is a TBR Vet to like beat all TBR Vets, you know? I've had this actually on my TBR for such a long time. And it's funny when I'm doing these challenges and stuff, I don't ever really think about my audiobook. Like, I always have an audiobook on the go, but I don't often think about including it as part of the readathon. So it's the perfect option. I'm so pleased, actually. So obviously you have to like, well, I say obviously, I'm sure some people do listen to biographies without like necessarily even knowing who the person is. That would maybe be a bit weird, but I am a huge Gilmore Girls fan, okay? And there are bigger Gilmore Girls fans than me, but I am a huge Gilmore Girls fan. I have seen Gilmore Girls all the way through 60 times probably, and it's like my absolute comfort show. I can quote most of the episodes. I used to watch it, I used to like record it on the Virgin box when I was at school, and me and my brother would watch it when we got home. And I used to tell my dad that I was recording it until we got to the end of the series, and then like I would be done. I would always delete them after we listened to them, watch them. But I never told him when we got to the end. I just started again. And then when I was at uni, I really didn't enjoy uni very much. It wasn't a very good time in my life. And I really needed something to comfort me in my third year. And we had a kind of equivalent to like CEX for my UK viewers. It's kind of like a discount, like video and video, I'm not that old, a discount like DVD and music shop, and they had Gilmore Girls there really cheap, and I would buy one series at a time because, you know, I was a student, I was poor, and I would try and like eke them out, but I binged them so quickly and I ended up buying them so fast. So I love Gilmore Girls, and I thought, you know, obviously so does my friend Sarah, that's why I borrowed the book from her, and I really wanted to listen to the audiobook. The issue for me, to be honest, I should have read it physically because I don't actually like Lauren Graham's voice on audio. I listened to, what is that book called? One Last Summer or something like that, which I listened to last year, and it was the only book that I gave 1 star. I did not like the book at all, but I also didn't like Lauren Graham as an audiobook narrator. And obviously she's narrating her own book, so it's going to be her. And she's just not my favourite. There's something about her voice that I don't love on audio compared to obviously what I do when I watch the show. And the audiobook is quite, like, it's quite self-helpy. A lot of it is about the Hollywood industry and how to survive the Hollywood industry, and like who is listening to this in the hope that they're also going to be in Hollywood. And you don't actually get a lot of it about Gilmore Girls. I didn't really learn anything about Gilmore Girls I didn't already know. I mean, it's really clear she had a great time on Gilmore Girls. So that's really lovely that it's like, you know, the way that I feel watching Gilmore Girls is also the way they all felt on the show. And that's super lovely and stuff. But you don't, there's no gossip. You don't learn anything from it. You don't learn whether there's going to be like a new year in the life. Like we had the first year in the life in 2016 and it ends on this giant cliffhanger and you don't know whether you're going to get like more of it. So yeah, unfortunately I didn't love this. I gave it 3 stars as well, but it does mean that we can roll. I've just realized I don't have my iPad in here with my dice though, so let me go get that. Okay, so got my iPad with my dice. So yeah, we're currently on TBR Vet. So let's see. My life is such a mess right now. Like in this clip, obviously you can see we've got a giant stack of books, but you can't get the full sense. I'm sure you've seen it in previous clips. I don't really know what I have and haven't filmed. I just can't wait until the work upstairs in our house is done and my life is back to normal because my desk is a state. Anyway, so let us see what number we are going to get this time. Why is it always rolling doubles? Why is it a double every time? Like, is this a thing on this roller? So we know it was 2 5s. We know it was a 10, but I am just going to do another roll, like just to see if it is always going to roll a double. No. Fine. Just, it's so non-conducive to this readathon to roll doubles every freaking time. Okay, right, let me just try and make my desk vaguely into a point where I can show you what we're doing. Okay, so like this is how far I've moved in this time. Anyway, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Stabby. Okay, I actually don't read any horror. Let me see what the prompts for this are. So before I start any of this, I have to read Iris Kelly Doesn't Date by Ashley Herring Blake. I'm 12% of the way through right now, but my arc expires in 3 days. So it's a little bit scary right now because there's no way I'm going to get it finished. I don't think. I'm going to have to spend some time reading this evening. So I need to read that. So I'm going to have to pause on all of this until I get through that, you know. Right, so, oh, Stabby is a pink. Okay. The baddest bloodier. Sorry, it's because I printed on sticker paper. The bloodier side of spooky season, true crime, thrillers, and grimdark fantasy would fit very well for this prompt. This prompt is solely open to your interpretation. Right. That is not anything I read. Like, I do not read true crime, don't like it. I don't read thrillers, and I don't think I have any grimdark fantasy. Also, I would never be able to read it fast enough. I mean, oh. And the fact that I have to read two, the fact that I have to double read for this, we might have just failed Spookopoly. Because I don't even know that I own anything for this. Like, it's just not, it is not what I read. I really need to finish Jade Legacy. I don't think that counts as grimdark, but it is at least a fantasy. It's a bit grim. I know that's not, that's not what it means, but I don't even know what grimdark fantasy is. Like, I really don't think I own anything. I'm having a look at like my graphic novels. Like, I might just read Coven because it's like witchy. Like, honestly, this is not like, I have cozy mysteries. So I may just have to do cozy mysteries, which is fine. I would like to read Thursday Murder Club. So I'd maybe just put Thursday Murder Club as this. It says it's open to my interpretation, you know? So honestly, I think that's what I would have to do, because I know they're not true crime or anything, but I don't own anything in this area. Anyway, well, I can't read Iris Kelly for this. So I'm going to have to read that first, which may mean that I don't get through anything else. There's something about Spookopoly that like never goes right for me. Like, it was exactly the same last September when I did Spookopoly. Okay, well, I'll update you when I have something to update you on, or I'll just finish out this vlog.
Hello, happy Thursday. Hard to remember what day it is. This is an interesting angle because the light from the window is almost making, like, completely washing me out. But at the same time, does it maybe, I don't know if it's better or worse for my bags, but we'll go with it. So, haven't checked in for a couple of days. Let me give you a little bit of an update about where we are at. So, I have read Iris Kelly Doesn't Date by Ashley Herring Blake. It didn't end up being a Spookopoly book because, oh, look at my hair, because I couldn't fit it in. But I had to read it because the book came out this week, so I needed to finish the arc. And do you know what? I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 4 stars, which is, I think I rated the other two 3.5. I think 3.5. But this one to me is like significantly better in terms of what I like than the other two. So if you don't know about this series, it's basically a sapphic romance series set in a town called Bright Falls, which is a kind of small town. And it's about sort of different pairs of women getting together for various different reasons. The first one, we have sort of an enemies to lovers, but not really an enemies to lovers. It's kind of a second chance, a bit. It's a bit of a different setup. The second one is kind of enemies to lovers. And then this one is fake dating, my favourite. And I didn't know it was fake dating when I went into it. I just was keen to read the third one so I could finish out the series. I just realised I finished the series. Look at me go. So that was why I wanted to read it. And this one was also about Iris, who is like a friend we know from the first two. And she has always kind of had this like intrigue. She loves dating but is struggling to settle down. And we found out from the earlier books that she makes planners. And I was like, this is my dream, you know? Iris is like, I'm going to love reading about her. The disappointing thing is that she is not making planners by the third one. She has closed the business. And I just felt that element was a bit odd. Like the fact that it's been set up through the first two that she has this planner business. And I'm not saying it was this, but it almost felt like Ashley kind of went, oh, I don't actually know how to write about that, so I'm going to have her close the business, and now she's going to be a romance author because that's what I know. And so the romance author element kind of felt like it was a bit convenient based on what we know of Iris already. But if you haven't read the other two, you can kind of overlook that. Though I think you should read all of them because there is a lot of feature of Delilah and Claire and the Astrid situation. I feel like talking about Astrid's book is such a spoiler. There's a lot of that
in the third book. So if you haven't read it, I think you would feel quite left out of what's going on. But I just felt with this one, I felt more in tune with Iris and with Stevie. I really enjoyed finding out about their story. The fake dating made sense to me. There was really, really good anxiety representation in this through Stevie, and I really like anxiety representation in books because I suffer from very similar anxiety to Stevie's in terms of the way she has panic attacks and stuff, and it's maybe the most closely replicated of my own anxiety that I've seen in a book. So I really liked that. I felt like I could really understand Iris. So yeah, I just had a great time. Also, this book is steamy. My word, so steamy. So if you like that in your books, well worth reading. I then, as you have seen, rolled a double again for Spookopoly and had to find like a thriller or a grimdark or something like that. Having looked up the definition of grimdark fantasy on Google, I have decided that Jade Legacy does count. And Iris Kelly brings me to book 99. So I'm going to make Jade Legacy my book 100. It is the 26th of October today, though. So I don't know that I'm going to finish Jade Legacy by Tuesday, because with my other books, you know, even just reading for like 45 minutes on the train, I make such good progress through them. But Jade Legacy is like 1,000 pages or something. So when I read the other day, I'd only made it through 6%. I was like, what is this? I normally I'd make it through 30% in this time. So there's an element of like, I don't think I have enough commuting between now and then because I'm working from home all until the end of October. And reading on the commute is where I get the most reading done. I will have a bath today. I'll try and read in the bath. In an ideal world, I would dedicate my evening to reading today, but I'm so tired. I mean, you can see things are not great for me sleeping-wise right now, and I just don't know that my eyes are going to be able to concentrate. I look so dreadful, actually. I'm kind of, like, trying not to look at myself in the camera, but, like, wow, I'm looking terrible. It's pretty horrendous. But anyway, I'm going to try and make Jade Legacy my final book, and if I don't finish it for Spookopoly, then I don't. I don't think I will do any more reading for Spookopoly now, but life's just what it is, you know? The Greenbone Saga by Fonda is an urban fantasy series about two rival clans who are fighting for control of their city, and it all revolves around the control of Jade, which is a substance that people use to enhance martial art abilities. It is so great. It's so good. And I have really resisted on finishing the third one. I've been like 32% of the way through for most of the year. But I didn't want to finish it because I just don't want to live a life where I'm not reading this book. But I would like it to be book 100 of the year. So that's why we're doing that. But I do have some exciting book mail that I wanted to show you. So Scholastic, I think, have released some special editions of The Hunger Games because of Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes coming out this year. I actually think it's probably coming out really soon, but I don't know if we'll go and see it in the cinema because Stuart has never watched The Hunger Games. He would like to, but he never has. So we'll see. But they have released some new special editions of Hunger Games, and Hunger Games is a series I absolutely love. I've read the books multiple times through, and my editions are somewhere in the conservatory, like just in a box. But I thought these special editions are just so beautiful, I had to get them. So they've arrived. So I thought we would unbox them together because I never really unbox mail in these videos because I just open it at other times. But I knew what this was, so I thought we'd open it. Oh my word. So these are hardbacks, which again, I'm not really into hardbacks, and these are books I already own. So, you know, and I don't think I would necessarily get rid of my paperbacks because they're nostalgic, you know, they're very well read paperbacks, but these are too pretty that I like couldn't not get them. So oh my word, they are so pretty. Wow, they're so gorgeous, right? I just love the box and everything. I think these are so special. And I got them from, I think from Scholastic. And they were cheaper on Scholastic than they were on Amazon and stuff. So worth having a look there if they're still available. I don't know if they are. Okay, so that's what they look like out of the foils. You can get a better sense. They're so pretty. Oh, wow. I'm so pleased. So we're going to look at each one by one. So first we've got The Hunger Games. So they are a kind of, matte material with like the embellishments are glossy. So on the back it says, winning will make you famous, losing means certain death. I guess you probably know what Hunger Games is, but if you don't, Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins is a dystopian book from when I was a teenager. And it's about a girl called Katniss who, the city that she lives in, they have like basically kind of put teenagers in to fight against each other for survival as competition. And her sister gets kind of, it's not her name pulled out of the hat, but that kind of thing. Her sister Prim gets her name drawn out, and then Katniss volunteers as tribute instead of her sister. And then it's kind of about, you know, Katniss trying to undo some of that stuff. So in terms of the, okay, so yeah, the words on the page are like quite big and it's not taking up the full page. So it would definitely still be like a relatively quick read. I would love to do a vlog reading all of these to see like how well it stands up, because it has been a long time since I've read them at this point, especially Mockingjay. I'm the type of person that will reread a book one over and over. So now we have Catching Fire, of course, the red ones. Love them, they're so gorgeous. Then we have Mockingjay, where they've gone for a sort of purpley grey, which I think works really well. Oh, and I didn't tell you, on the back of Catching Fire is, I'm not going to read you the back of the second one because I feel like it's a spoiler. And then the back of this one is If We Burn, You Burn With Us. Fun. Well, not fun, obviously. These books are actually really sad. And then this is the one I have not read, which is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. And this is a prequel, I believe. And on the back it says, ambition will fuel him, competition will drive him, but power has its price. So yeah, this one's quite thick actually compared to the others. Let me see if it's, I'm filling slightly more of the page. So this one's definitely longer. So yeah, I'm just really excited. I didn't really need them, but I wanted them. So I got them, and that's how book shopping works. So that's my update. So I will at some point come and finish out this vlog. It will probably just be to let you know how far through Jade Legacy I am. I think I'm at like 40% now, maybe. So I'll update you when I have more to actually update you on.
Hi. I feel somewhat reluctant about finishing out this vlog because since my last clip, I haven't finished anything else. I've actually read a significant amount of Jade Legacy. So when I picked this book back up, I was on 32% and I'm on 81% now, right? So I'm actually doing good. But where it's just a longer book, it takes longer to get through, and I feel so sure that I want this to be my 100th book. I've like completely convinced myself of that. But I've got myself into a bit of a reading slump with it. It can be hard to like find the energy to pick it up. But as soon as I'm reading it, I'm like, yes, I'm loving it. But it's that thing of knowing that when I put it down again, I'm like nowhere near finishing a book. But anyway, it's the 2nd of November now. So we are officially done with Spookopoly. I would have liked to have made my way around the board a lot more. The doubles were so harsh. I also didn't read as much this month as I would have liked to. So the way that I calculate pages read per month is that I only calculate the pages of a book that I finished. If I started that book in a previous month, that's fine. I never will have counted those pages previously, so they can count in the month that I'm referring to. Like, for example, reading this much of Jade Legacy doesn't count. I didn't finish the book in the month of October. I hope that makes sense. It's just the easiest way for me to calculate pages. So I read 2,807 pages for this month. I have no idea how many books that was because my laptop is downstairs. But if I don't finish this clip out now, I'm not convinced I'll ever post this vlog. And there's definitely a part of me that thinks I still won't post this vlog because the imposter syndrome is so high and I just think nobody's going to be interested in this. But what's the point? I've edited everything up till now other than 2 clips anyway, so I may as well post it. Yes, 2,807 pages, which is not my best by any means, but obviously I have read a fair amount of Jade Legacy, so November is going to be very boosted by the fact that all of Jade Legacy's pages will count in November, despite the fact I've been reading it for nearly a year. So win some, lose some. I do donate to a charity every month. I donate £1 for every 100 pages that I read per month to a different charity. And for this month, it was Battersea Cats and Dogs Home because it was World Animal Day on the 4th of October. So I'm donating £28 to Battersea. I would have liked it to have been more, but alas, again, that is just the way it falls sometimes. I definitely do feel disappointed that I didn't get to make my way round the board more. Like, those doubles were just so harsh for me. The fact that I actually only read to like 3 different prompts. And obviously Jade Legacy was for that final prompt that I rolled for, but I didn't finish the book. That's the way it goes. And I did read. I didn't read as much as I would have liked to, but I did read.
And I think especially while I'm sort of going through the mental health stuff that I'm going through, any reading is still good reading. So I'm going to wrap up this video here. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I would really appreciate a like. Thanks for making me feel a bit better. And if you haven't already, I would love it if you would subscribe. In the description, I will have a link to my Goodreads and my Instagram if you want to check out any more content from me. Otherwise, I'll see you in my next video.